Hello and welcome to Fast Horses Today for Saturday, June 14th. And it seems like it's a pretty big card there at Santa Anita. They got a lot of races, some big fields, which isn't a surprise because, they're ending their meet tomorrow. And there won't be any turf racing until Del Mar starts, which is, I believe, Del Mar's first day is July 18th. So a lot of time in between, so the turf races will fill, and they certainly did. We've got some big fields, and I think we've got some really nice betting opportunities here at Santa Anita today. So I've got a few win bets, as well as I do have a late pick 5. So let's get started on the card at Santa Anita. So I'm going to start out with a win bet in the second race at Santa Anita. There's approximate post time about 1 o'clock Pacific, so 3 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. This is a 6-furlong dirt sprint, and this is a condition allowance race. This is a California, or not a California, but open. And what the condition is it's really geared towards the Northern California horses who have been stabling there, who have been based there. Gives them a chance to run for an allowance purse, $31,000. And, nice purse for them, and that way they don't have to always run claiming races. So gives the connections a nice chance there. So I do have a horse here that I want to make a win bet on, and that is the 4-horse, who is Border Control. For Jose Bautista and Armando Ayuso takes the call here. Now, this horse has run 3 times in her life. She got a win and a third in 3 starts. And then she does have a start over at Santa Anita with much, much better. She ran with Happy Sue, who's also in this race. We'll speak about her momentarily. Border Control started out her career with a big win over at Pleasanton last fall, winning by open lengths. And, they put her in a stakes race, a 2-turn stakes race. I thought she just ran a nice, even race. Apparently something must have went amiss because she had a break between December and May of this year, December of last year, May of this year. She came back and run with Happy Sue, as I mentioned. I felt like she ran a nice race, and it looked to me like maybe she just needed the start and should really improve here. Happy Sue ended up beating her that day, but I think that Border Control can turn the tables here. She's 9-2 in the program. I figure we'll probably get something like that. Ayuso's certainly been riding really well, and this would be a race that I could see him, getting the job done here. So we'll make a win bet in the second race on the 4-horse Border Control. So we're going to skip over several of the next races. There's some nice races for you to bet if you see something there, but I'm going to skip over to the 8th race. 8th race is the start of the late pick 5. It's an approximate post time about 4:08 Pacific, so 6:08 here in the Central Time Zone. The 8th race is a 6-furlong grass sprint, so flat grass there. And it's a 32,000 claiming race. So interesting field, so you've got some horses who've been knocking around at this level. You've got some horses who have run with better and have, are end up here in their stage of their career. Makes for an open race here. So I'm going to put 4 horses in. I feel like one of these 4 should get this pick 5 started. I'm going to put the 1 Noble Reflection. Liberato Baraccio trains this horse now. Ayuso takes the call. Now this is definitely, your tough knocker horse. He's been around for, running for a while. He's a 7-year-old gelding. This horse is certainly popular in the claim box, has been claimed several times and changed hands. He's a very fast horse. Apparently he must have some issues because he's running for 32 now, but certainly a very fast horse. If Baraccio has this horse right, this horse can certainly take this field the distance. He's 5-2 in the program, so we'll put the 1 Noble Reflection. Going to also put the 4-horse, who is sharp as attack for Jeff Mullins, Hector Barrios. This horse is your program favorite, so maybe we'll go off as a favorite. I grudgingly put this horse in. I don't know that this horse is going to run much today, but certainly don't want to get knocked out with Jeff Mullins. Jeff Mullins did that to us yesterday and took us out of a nice payoff. So we'll put sharp as attack here. I think this horse has seen better days, but maybe he's found a field here that he could beat. So we'll put the 4 in. I am going to put the 6-horse, Harry's on the Fly, for OJ Harrigy, and Kimura takes the call here. Now this horse, interesting horse. This horse started out as a very nice horse running in maiden special weights, ended up breaking his maiden over at Del Mar a couple years back in a sprint race, so certainly shows some quality there. This horse ended up getting claimed last year at the Del Mar meet. OJ Harrigy claimed this horse off of Sam Walensky. Walensky does bring horses over to the Del Mar meet. This horse ended up getting claimed for 50. Apparently something, went amiss here because this horse had, ran one time after the claim, not a good effort. There's been a long break. He's putting him in for 32 here. Now the horse shows some nice works. And, again, as I mentioned, this field is, a collection of horses who have run good races in their past, but, certainly are just where they are now at 32,000, and they don't always run, consistently here at this level. So Harry's on the Fly certainly can come off the bench and beat this field. 6-1, Kimura, as I mentioned, on the horse, so it'll be worth putting in here in the first leg of the pick 5. And then finally, I am going to put the 7, who is Osage Creek for Ryan Hansen, and Escobedo's on the horse here. Now, this horse is riding a 3-race win streak. So nice story here with this horse. This horse broke his maiden for 20, and then followed that up with a couple nice wins on the turf here, sprinting at Santa Anita, in condition claiming races. So, he does go to the open claim here, but I think that's really kind of this horse's next stops is this open condition, this open claiming for 32. Certainly has run well. Escobedo fit this horse very well. He's won on him the last 3 times. This horse is 5-1. Maybe he's the fresh horse, the now horse, and can, maybe beat this bunch of, old timers and, some just proven veterans. But we'll see. Osage Creek might be the now horse here. So we'll start to pick 5 in the 8th race off with the 1, 4, 6, and 7. All right, now let's move over to the 9th race of the day. 9th race, nice race here. This is a maiden special weight. They're using the 7 furlong chute. Thank goodness. I was kind of wondering, why they don't use this chute more often, 7 furlongs. So nice to see here. Maiden special weights, some nice horses here, some big purchase prices. I've got 2 horses here I feel like, should get this pick 5 advance, and I do have a win bet here. So we'll go here with the 1 horse, who is Cheever. Cheever for Mark Glatt. Big purchase price here at $700,000. This horse has had 1 start, has run with a couple of these. Frey Sue's on the horse again. He had come 3rd in his first race here, Cheever, and got beat by Southern Gentleman and Sierra Silver. Sierra Silver we'll speak about momentarily. That was a race where there were 2 Baffert horses, Sierra Silver being the big favorite and Southern Gentleman being the higher priced Baffert. That's the horse that won the race. We see that happen so many times. I do like the way Cheever ran there in his first start. It's just kind of a learning experience for this horse. Certainly well bred by Into Mischief out of Electric Forest. It was by Curlin. So, this horse really must have shown up nicely in the walking ring, in the auction ring, going for $700,000. So this horse should be ready to go. I'm going to put a win bet on Cheever. He's 2-1 here. I think the 7 furlong should be just fine. And might even get over 2-1 because maybe the Baffert horse will get over bet. So for pick 5 purposes, I will also put the Baffert horse being Sierra Silver, with Juan Hernandez on the horse. This horse has had 2 starts here at Santa Anita. Opened up his career running up against Goal Oriented, which, we saw Goal Oriented, very live horse. And, Goal Oriented ended up winning his next race at Churchill and ended up running, a pretty good race over at the Preakness. And, Sierra Silver came 3rd that day and, followed that up with a 2nd place finish at Odds On, getting beat, as I mentioned, by Southern Gentleman, but beating Cheever. So I feel like Cheever will turn the tables on this horse, but we'll put both horses in for pick 5 purposes. So we've got the 1 and the 4 here. All right, now let's go to the next race of the day, being the 10th race. This is the Grade 3 Daytona, 6.5 down the hill. It's always love to see the down the hill. Let's get that used, before this meeting, completes tomorrow. So they're doing that with the 6.5 down the hill. This is a $100,000 race, and we've got certainly a lot of accomplished horses here in this field and horses that are very accomplished down the hill. So I've got 4 horses here. So I do think this is a pretty open race and not just, singling the favorite. So I'm going to put the 1 Air Force Red. Air Force Red, trained by Leonard Powell, Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners. IUSO takes the call. Now, this horse has done a lot of his damage down the hill here. This horse is 5 for 10 with 2 seconds down the hill at 6.5 down the hill. And, as I mentioned, done a lot of great work on this hillside course. So 8-1, certainly likes the course, has won, graded races, has run well in graded races. So certainly I think is a factor here at 8-1. That would be Air Force Red. I'm going to put the 3 horse was Goliad. Goliad for Richard Mandela and Mike Smith. Now, this horse had a really good 2024 year, winning four starts out of 7 and banking over $1.5 million, including a couple big wins over at Kentucky Downs. And, to show how much confidence the Mandela barn had in this race, they ended up getting 2 races over at that Kentucky Downs meet, which is really aggressive and, even more aggressive for a barn like Mandela. So they had given Goliad a break. He had come out at the Shoemaker Mile back in Memorial Day weekend. And, I liked the horse that day, and he ended up getting the lead and just, fell back, between, horses and didn't finish up there in the money. But I think that was just really a get him over the get him back on the track type of start for the Mandela barn. 6.5 down the hill. He's run down the hill. It hasn't been successful, but that was some time ago before, the light bulb really went on for Goliad. So 7-2, Mike Smith, there's one way to go here. We'll see. Mike Smith has been riding really well on the turf, winning races for us here at Fast Horses today. So it's been nice. So we'll put the 3 Goliad. Going to also put the 5 horse being Stay Hot for Peter Urton and Juan Hernandez. Now this horse comes off a bit of a layoff. Last time we saw this horse was in the Grade 2 Mathis Mile over on opening day at Santa Anita. So this horse has had a bit of a break. Now he had a really nice 3-year-old campaign last year, running in the graded stakes races in the 3-year-old category there in Southern California. Shows a nice record at Santa Anita, 3 wins out of 6 starts and 2 seconds. Does show a win at the 6.5 down the hill. It won the Baffle last year. So Stay Hot certainly is a nice horse. He's shown up in the big graded races with 3-year-olds, so he's taken on older here. But I think the horse could run fresh. And as I've mentioned many times, I have no problem with horses coming off of layoffs and turf sprints. So Stay Hot 6-1. Juan Hernandez will put him in, and then finally I will put the favorite being Notorious for Phil D'Amato and Antonio Fresu. Now this horse has definitely run well down the hill, done some nice work, has run well everywhere, in all the grass sprints at Southern California. So he's figured out all the configurations. Del Mar 5 furlong grass sprints, Santa Anita down the hill, Santa Anita flat grass. He's done good work in pretty much all of those. So Notorious, we haven't seen Notorious since December 28th. So right around the opening day there, he's been off. He certainly has run okay fresh, off layoffs. He's 6-5, so we will put Notorious in here. So we've got the 1, 3, 5, and 7. All right, now let's move over to the next race of the day, being the 11th race. The 11th race is a mile on the dirt, and this is a $5,000 condition race. This is geared, to your Northern California horses. And, these races have been competitive and, at times have shown you some nice prices that do come in and win these races. So I've got 3 horses here I'm going to put in, and I feel like one of these 3 will get it done and advance the ticket. I'm going to go with the 5, Devil in the Bluegrass, for trainer Steve Bryant, which I'm not familiar with Steve Bryant. I know he looks like he's 1 for 10 this year, including being 1 for 4 here at the Santa Anita Spring Meet. Tyler Bays takes the call here. This horse has run well in his 2 starts for Bryant. He has a win here, so that's his win in the 5,000 non-2 level. Running a nice race here. And then they moved him up into the $8,000 open race. So I thought he ran nicely there as well. And, Tyler Bays had him that time. Bays rides him again here. He's 6-1. Now, this is a big horse. This horse by Cloud Computing out of a Harlan's Holiday mare, and that just produced a really big horse. It looks like, he getting out of the gate seems to be a little bit of an issue for him, probably because he's such a big guy. But I think that Bays certainly knows how to get horses out of the gate, get him a good position. I think this horse can finish up. He seems to run with a lot of energy, and I don't know that there's a whole lot of talent in this field. So we'll put the 5, Devil in the Bluegrass. Going to also put the 7 being American Empire for Val Brinkerhoff. Now this horse has taken the plunge. This horse has been running in $30,000 claiming races. This is not a non-winner of 3s, but certainly this is a big drop for this horse. This horse has done his work mostly on synthetic tracks and the turf course. Maldonado takes the call here. I do like first-time Maldonado is a nice angle. Learned that one some time back. Maldonado seems to really get the best out of a horse first time he rides him. And, 5-1 here, I'm sure it's just a matter of getting this horse out clean, getting him a nice trip, and, seeing if he could reach in, to some of his previous class that, he could take care of a $5,000 field. So we'll put the 7 American Empire in here. And then finally going to put the 9 horse. 9 horse being JB Books for Paula Gary and Giovanni Franco. Now, this is your program favorite at 5-2. Now, a guy that definitely needs a win is Paula Gary. Paula Gary's 0 for 13 this year, so he's not run a whole lot of horses, but he's had a couple horses. I think he's had some bad luck in a couple races. So Paula Gary's certainly a capable trainer. His stable has gone a lot smaller than he's had in previous years, but JB Books has run with better horses. has run here at Santa Anita, taking on some of those starter allowance races, which those starter allowance races do come up tough at times, the Northern California starter allowance style races. So he's got it, 5,000 claimers, so he's dropping here, getting realistic. Paul Gary probably wants to win a race, so we'll put this horse in here. So we've got the 5, 7, and 9 in the 11th race. All right, now let's go to the last race of the day. Last race of the day being the 12th race. 12th race, a marathon card here at Santa Anita, is a mile grass race. These are California maiden special weight horses, fillies 3-year-olds and up. And I've got 2 horses here, and I do have a win bet on a long shot that I do really like today. So I've got the 1 horse who is Hello Kiddo Kiddo for Lobrato Braccio. Kent DeSormo takes the call again. Now, I know I've given this horse out previously, and he hasn't gotten it done for us, but I'm going to give Hello Kiddo Kiddo one more chance, or I should say she hasn't gotten it done. Hello Kiddo Kiddo, I'm going to give her one more chance here. Kent DeSormo from the 1 hole, 9-2. This horse has been running in the maiden special weight races, has had a couple excuses. We'll just see if DeSormo can get this horse a nice ride. Probably will be finishing up nicely here. So we'll put the 1 Hello Kiddo Kiddo. And then I'm going to also put the 6 horse, who is Pure Chaos, for James Cassidy and Mike Smith. And I'm also going to make a win bet on Pure Chaos. This horse is 15-1 in the program. Tell you why I really like this horse and why I'm putting this horse in and making a win bet on Pure Chaos. James Cassidy, Mike Smith have paired up for years and done nice work for this outfit as well. DP Racing, who is a big stable. At one time had a lot of horses, and James Cassidy certainly trained for that outfit, for years. They're the ones who bred it. Looks like James Cassidy's the owner here, so not sure how that worked out. But here's the deal: the mother of this horse, Pure, she's dropped a lot of nice horses in the Calbred ranks and has some first-time winners as well. She's the mom of Tom's Regret, who's a really nice Calbred. Also Pure Madness. Pure Madness is a full sibling to Pure Chaos. Full Madness did some nice work last year, also won first start of his career as well. So this is the full sister to Pure Madness. Certainly James Cassidy has gotten it done, first starters. Out of this family, I think this horse is, not going to go off at 15-1 because, there'll probably be some people figuring this out, who this family is and some of the offspring here. So I think Pure Chaos is going to run a nice race. Just kind of even works. James Cassidy doesn't really buzz him in the morning. So, it looks to me like just getting this horse ready to go. A mile should be no problem here. So I'm going to put the 6 Pure Chaos in and a win bet here. Going to throw out a couple of the short price horses. These last races have created chaos, and certainly it's created chaos for me, where long shots do win that I don't have, and, you put the shorter price horses in, they don't come through. So I'm going to, just miss a couple of the shorter prices in the program. So I've got the 1 and the 6 to finish up the pick 5. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the bets. Okay, so for Saturday, June 14th, we've got 3 win bets today, and we've got a late pick 5. So the win bets, we're going to start out in the second race with a win bet on the 4, Border Control. Move over to the 8th race. We're going to get that pick 5 started with the 1, 4, 6, 7, with 1, 4, with 1, 3, 5, 7, with 5, 7, 9, with 1, 6. Now that pick 5 ticket is a $96 ticket. And then we also have the win bets in the 9th race, the 1 horse Cheever. And then the 12th race, we've got win on the 6 horse, Pure Chaos, that long shot in the last. So if you see fit and want to bet as is, I wish you the best of luck. If you want to add or subtract, bet within pick 3s or pick 4s, or just make the win bets, I wish you the best of luck. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing, and let's wish ourselves some good trips. We'll get some good results for Saturday here, June 14th. So as always, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. I really appreciate you. If you haven't done so, please do so. I could use the subscribers here and get this count up. It's free, doesn't cost anything, just puts you on the feed when new content's created. You can like, dislike, make comments. I promise to respond to everything. So again, thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today and listening to the picks. Let's make this a great day at Santa Anita, the great race place, and we'll see you back tomorrow on Sunday.